Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, you Akhwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson. Yeah, so I was going through a couple of videos. I ended up stumbling upon this video that America's on the brink of a race war. And it says a woke pop culture, right? And this young sister, she had some very interesting things to say the least, right? So, I'll go ahead and play what she was saying, and then put some scriptures, and Lord's will, it'd be edifying.
Not proven to be true, but allegedly he stated that Islam and Uish had to mutually destroy each other, and that this would bring on the one world religion. And so just notice that both of them are going to have shakeups, because world war is real, and it's coming. It's already started. They're just not declaring it. They're not going to declare anything, because if they declare, hey, this has already started because these two people have started to fight and that's kicked it off, then again, they don't want you worried. If you believe that we're in a recession, we're headed into a depression, and World War has already started, then you might just panic and freak out, and they can't have you panicking and freaking out. They need you to eat the dog food that they give you. They need you to watch Love Island. They need you to be consumed with race war propaganda so that you can be distracted from, again, what's really happening around you. There's real happening around you. That's what I'm telling you. So this is why I keep telling y'all, please, I don't care if you can find a job or not. Do not fret. Do not worry. Do not fret. Do not be like, oh my God. This is not the time to freak out. This is truly the time to keep calm and carry on. Do not give a matrix that is dying. Do not give a system that is collapsing. Do not give any crazy shit right now your energy. Don't, because why? You know what I'm saying? Why should I give my energy to something that is already dead? Why should I be a dead horse? Yes. Now, Vietnam. Thank you for saying that. Thank you, Dion, because I'm like clearly a troll. Now, again, they want you distracted with race war propaganda and a whole bunch of other foolishness. Oh, I see you, OMG. Hey. Yeah, somebody said that earlier. Security is always hiring. I can believe that. Just like Amazon, they're always hiring. One thing I wanted to say was, again, there's so much real stuff that you need to be focused on. I just saw a headline that in Vietnam, people who haven't submitted their biometric data, their bank accounts have been closed. Now, why would that happen? Biometric? Yeah, because they're getting ready to issue that mark. And they need to force you to do it, and be prepared. This is why you should always keep some cash, but more than cash, because cash will not have any value. Cash has lost 97% of its value since it became fiat currency. So why should you keep currency that's consistently losing its value on hand? You should be keeping seeds, clean water, like keep that on hand. That's what you need. I mean, gold and silver is nice, but you can't eat gold and silver.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a AI overview. Millions of bank accounts in Vietnam have been frozen or shut down due to new regulations mandating biometric verification to combat fraud, right? Which they don't give a damn about fraud. I mean, all everything that these people do is a fraud, right? You being the government, right, and so-called ruling over the people the way you do it is a fraud, right? So they don't give a damn about that. The whole thing is this is all for that Novos Ordo Seclorum, like the sister was saying, right? You know, it says over 86 million inactive, wow, or unauthorized authortic authenticated Slovakia accounts were reportedly terminated starting September 1st. Ooh, that just happened. 2025, after customers failed to register their biometric data. So yeah, we are closer than we first believed. Hey, all these in dubs talking about we not living in the Bible days. Hey, you don't know how in the Bible days you're living. You don't know. Hey, we're closer than we first believed. Hey, the Bible is speaking, right? Loud and clear, right through this AI overview, right? Yes, it's a regulatory background bank statement of Vietnam regulations, directions, blah 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 blah, circular and introducing stricter identity verification requirements, implementation timeline. The requirements were rolled out in stages July 1st, 2024. So it's a little more than a year they gave them. Individual customers were required to use biometrics, facial fingerprint recognition for specific high-risk online transactions, such as transfers over 10 million. Yeah, so this is Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 6, and as you could see, that that young lady had she's very smart. She sees what's going on. I mean she might be one of those elect ladies, who knows. She definitely is not like a lot of these other Jake women, right? She's definitely prudent to a degree, and then So of course I showed you the little article showing that they did this about a year ago, last year. Matter of fact, I believe I did a lesson not too long ago, a while back ago, about Ethiopia did the same thing, right? So we're in that fourth empire, the thing that Daniel spoke of before the return of our Lord, of Yahweh Shai, right? Which was prophesied that this will be the feet, and it will be partly strong and partly broken, and that's where we're at, right? Prepared for that great collapse. And it's saying, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6. I'm gonna do the Amplified version first. And will all these victims, right? Saying you're a victim of your government, right? You did a lot of working, being good citizens, so-called keeping the laws, not breaking the laws, paying your so-called taxes on time, but really none of that made any difference. If you listen to the young lady, she said that it's lost 90% or so of value since they took it off the gold, right? Doing, was it Reagan? Not Reagan. Roosevelt. I believe Roosevelt took it off from the gold standard, right? And since it got taken off from then, it lost completely most of its value. So you're talking 60, 70 years, you're thinking everything's okay, you know? And you're just going to become a victim of his greed, right? Right? And not only did they make most of the money, the poor got poorer, the rich got richer. Not to mention, he's going to go a little bit further. He wants to own you outright, lock, stock, and barrel, right? So to speak, right? Being a digital tag upon you, showing what ownership, right? Not taking up a taunting song against him, right? Yeah, because that's what people are doing. They're starting to say certain little things against the small hats, right? The wish, right? And they're not having that. Now they got to do what? Censorship, lockdown of the internet, right? So you don't have these taunting proverbs against them, right? Because people are speaking out against them, right? And they don't like that. And in mocking, derision against him, right? So you're speaking against the system in a mocking fashion. You know, you're speaking about how they're G-siding, how they're not the people, how they're just, you know, issues, they wishes, they Jew wishes, right? So people are speaking against that. They can't have that. They can't have you thinking and looking at what's really going on. They got to fill your head with propaganda, like she was saying. Smoke and mirrors. Pay attention to this political strife over here. Pay attention to, you know, bread and circus, football, basketball. Let's put a few people out there and put them on the front street on some, pedophile accusations, but we will not release the Epstein list. And then you got people, oh, it didn't never exist. Be that may, we cannot, we know, right, or allegedly, should we say, know that these people do certain things to children, right? Especially on their high wicked days. That's why these children come up missing. I mean, the Abraham Finkelstein, which you cannot find his video anymore, was not saying any of those things for no reason. That they drink the children's, BLOOD, and you can't find these children, and and then the remains ends up at these fast food restaurants or probably at your local grocery store, right? Allegedly, right? Because that video can't not be found anymore. Hardly. I mean, I think I know a brother that says he has it still, but it's damn near impossible to find that Abraham Finkelstein video. Says whose judgment, woe, which means judgment, is coming, right? So that's what woe mean. Woe, his judgment is coming to him who increaseth that which is not his, right? The rich get richer, the poor get poor. And how do they do that? Taking what's not his, what don't belong to them. But they set up laws and legislations and what is this thing? What is it? Executive bills, things, because they have the power. They have the military. They have what could you do, right? You got to go to them. It says that the slave, the borrower is slave to the lender. So we always got to go. We having to go to this system in order to get anything. So you have to be borrowed them, which makes you a slave, right? It says, how long will he possess it, right? Which is not much longer, because the Lord is about to take him out of his rulership seat. And woe to him who maketh himself wealthy with loans. See? And that's ultimately what he does. He puts a lot of loans out on you people, and you people make this place wealthy because there's no other choice. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and even though you're not satisfied with the results that you get, you have to play the game that you were given. So then you end up getting these loans, credit cards, this and that, putting you further into debt. Right. So this is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7. The rich ruleth over the poor, right? And the borrower, right? You being the regular, average, everyday citizen, you always end up having to get loans and credit cards, which a credit card is basically a loan, right? They keep pushing the issue, and now you're living paycheck to paycheck, which some people are already living paycheck to paycheck. Now, some people are barely getting by. Now they got to come up with other hustles and this and that. But now these people are talking about being transparent with your banking information and your information just in general. But it ain't that they care about fraud. It's going to be a way to be able to truly make you a servant, because it says the rich ruleth over the poor, and this is a way to truly rule over you with an iron fist, so to speak, right? Because if I know everything, when you buy something, you sell something, right? There ain't no working under the table where you don't pay me taxes. You can work 2 jobs, work 3 jobs, work 4 jobs, but I want my cut, right? And with this so-called transparency, there's no you being able to put some money away for a rainy day, right? All that's going to be out the window. And the borrower is a servant, which means a slave to the lender, right? And that's these international bankers, right? Starting with the small hats, the you wish. And he that soweth iniquity, right? And that's ultimately what they do, shall reap vanity. And that's what's coming. They're already woe, which means judgment. Judgment meaning what? Destruction is coming to this place. And the rod of his anger shall fail. See? And that's what he's finna do. He's gonna come down with great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time, but overall, hey, it's going to fail. Right? Yeah, so this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say woe, which means judgment, right? Weeping and gnashing of teeth, destruction, right? To him that increaseth that which is not his, right? Through these loans, letting you borrow money that they know you can't pay back, to give you mortgages that you can't pay back, right? You know, that increase of that which is not his, how long? And to him that layeth himself with thick clay, right? And that's what he's going to do. I'm going to go into that clay. And these are all these Western countries, like France is going through it, Germany, and pretty much a lot of these Western countries, right? NATO, EU, and America are about to fall. And it's a batyat, and a batyat being what? A weight of a pledge, which basically is like a pawn shop, right? Pawning something. You go back into the law. That's part of the law. You give a pledge, so that way you can get some relief, and then you come back and maybe you pledge something like a family heirloom or something, but it's always meant for you to get that family heirloom back, right? You know, because that's how they'll see. Yeah, see, pawned goods. See, that's what the pledge mean, right? Heavy debt, right? And that's ultimately what it is. So they loan you and get rich off of loaning you things. And this is how they get rich, off of your heavy debt. But they also got a heavy debt because they're borrowing money from China and Japan, and they have a heavy debt, right? Then they're borrowing money from the international bankers, which is Amalek, which is the small hats. And so that's why they owe them. That's why when it comes down to this whole G-siding thing and Gaza, they have nothing to say because they owe these people. They're slave to the lender. I mean, they're slave to the lender because they're the ones who borrowed. So now they have to be slave to the international, the world bankers, right? The small hatters, right? Which in turn making you that way, which in turn, yeah. So this is Isaiah chapter 19, verse 3, and the spirit of Egypt, right? Which, you know, that's another terminology according to the scriptures for America, right? Which is Egypt, shall fail in the midst thereof, right? And I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, in which that's what they're doing. That, like the young sister was speaking about, how they're, you know, these different things which are basically psyops, it's witchcraft, you know, these different things to get you into these, you know, race baiting type things, you know, and to get you invested in some things that you know, you have plenty of time, because they definitely are pushing forth, this biometrics, and to the charmers, right, going into the media, the witchcraft of the media, and to them that have familiar spirits, right, the FBI, the CIA, because these people, they investigate you, they study you, these different scientists and this and that, when they break down the molecular of the foods, the GMOs, so that it attack your specific phenotype, genotype, right? Familiar spirits and wizards, right? You got these politicians and what's it called? Famous people, these occultic people, right? They're all in with the Illuminati, right? And they'll spin off things and tell you certain things, but really they're part of the agenda, right? Says and the Egyptians, right, will I give over into the hands of a cruel Lord, which are talking about you Americans, you Babylonians, right, which you're spiritually known as the daughter of Babylon also. So you Egyptians, which this talking about you Americans, will I give over into the hands of a cruel Lord. And you have Donald Trump passing all these executive orders. He's showing you that he's pushing forth cruel, right, to rule over you cruelly, and a fierce king, right? And that's how he's acting like a king, because a president is not supposed to be a king, right? That's the whole point of technically why they supposed to have put it up there. That's why you're supposed to vote the person in. And that's why you're supposed to go through Congress, and you're supposed to go through so many different levels before you could do all these different things. But somehow he's not going through any of these levels. He's not going through anything. He's pushing forth the things, and they saying he'll worry about it later. No, he's not going to worry about it later, because he's not going through court. And if they do, it's all witchcraft. It's all spiritual. It's all charming, right? They're going to sing to you sweet nothings. Oh, we took it to the Court of Appeals, and the Supreme Court ruled in Donald Trump's favor, and, there's nothing we could do about it. Poor American system, democracy, and the Bill of Rights don't matter. There's no rights, because we just appealed and we put in a court and said, hey, yeah, it's okay to profile to what did they say? It's legal to profile you based on your race, suppose, right? Basically, that's what they're saying. They made it legal to racially profile. So what does that mean for this place? That's a cruel Lord, right? And the fierce king shall rule over them, saith the outer one, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Rakal Kadash, of host. So this is 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in every city, right, all over Babylon, right, also known as Egypt, spiritually the daughter of Babylon, and spiritually Egypt, in every city, in every place, and in the next cities, Salakia, a great insurrection. And that's what they've been talking about, insurrection, right? A rising up of the people against the government, right? Upon these that fear Yahweh, Basham Yahweh Shai. Saying really that's what this is technically all about, is them coming after the elect. But they have to use these media, these certain talking points from talking heads, and make it seem like this and this and that, so they have a reason. Well, there's a lot of gang. Well, it's been like that for quite some time. I mean, we should start with with you, right? The FBI is not an American organization, allegedly. The CIA is not an American organization, allegedly, which is why they have basically a license to kill, right? They could technically do whatever they want to do, and nothing ever happens. Just like you found with them helping with all sorts of different drug dealers and cartels, and this comes out in the news. Somehow, some type of reporter reports everything, ends up committing suicide with 2 gunshot wounds to his head, and nothing happens to you, right? No one ever in the CIA has ever been arrested. Nobody's in the FBI ever been arrested. So you got immunity. You do what you want to do, right? So it says, they shall be like madmen, right? Because basically Trump is moving like a king, and nobody telling him anything. He's going to be that cruel Lord, and that they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but shall spoil and destroy those that fear Yahweh. So a lot of men and women who really truly believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will die. But we're gonna die valiantly, right? You're gonna die like holy warriors for the truth, man. Unfeigned, unmoved, right? You know, because what else do you have anyway? They're basically wiping everything away, right? The only place is up anyway. You know what I mean? For they shall waste and take away their goods, right? When you're wasting and taking away all the goods and casting them out of their houses, what is there left anyway? You want us to just completely bow down to you and serve Satan unequivocally, without a doubt, right? You know, hey, that ain't no good, bro. That's no good. There's nothing for us to live here then, right? But that's why it's, then shall they be known who are my chosen. See, and that's what's gonna ultimately break some things loose, because what you're gonna be putting your hands on the elect, and the Lord said, do not touch my prophets or my anointed, and do my prophets no harm. And you're gonna know who those men are, which is totally different than a regular, average, everyday Jake, right? And they shall be tried as gold in the furnace. So yeah, we're gonna go through some things, but you're gonna know we're gonna be unfeigned, unmoved at any of these things. Hey man, chop my head off, man. I'm not bound down to your Novos Ordo Seclorum, period. But being who you are, you're being the cruel Lord, and you're tossing people and casting them out of their houses. This is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 26, and I'm going to read the Amplified version first. That says, do not be among those who give pledges, right? Basically, we read that, the definition of that, pledge meaning what? A debt, basically, right? Like a pawn. You're pawning your thing and basically putting yourself in debt, right? It says, involving themselves in others' finances, right? So now you exchange your thing to have this financial so-called stability, which really just puts you in debt. Or among those who be guarantors for others' debts, right? You guarantee that the rich get richer and the poor gets poor, right? It says, this is back to the KJV 26, Proverbs 22:26. Be not thou one of them that strike hands, or of them that are sureties for debt, right? Because then you're going to end up fighting and doing all sorts of different things, striking hands with these people over money, over debt. Now you're out there protesting, fighting against the establishment, and going against the government in ways because you put yourself in a predicament, right? Let's go into that sureties, right? Yeah, and it's right here, sureties.
Strong's H 6148. Arav.
Arab or Abal, Arab, right? Arab, right? To pledge, right? Wanted to, same thing with a pledge means like basically like a pawn shop. You pawn your thing, basically putting yourself in debt to exchange your thing for debt. Mortgage, right? You end up exchanging your thing to say you'll pay this mortgage, which get in a house, put yourself in debt. Engage, occupy, undertake, forgive, pledge, be or become, surety, take on pledge, take on the debt, give in debt, right? To take on basically debt or pledge, or go a surety, right? Which means go in debt, right? Exchange. Let's see what we can do. Mingle, yep. Mingle. Metal, yep. Gauge. Mortgage. Occupiers. Occupy. Undertake. See if we got. They don't have a root, but yeah. But basically, yeah. You don't want to be in with these things where you're going in debt. But that's society. That's why they set it up, so you can have a mortgage and this and that, and occupy yourself and mingle yourself and then entangle yourself in debt, basically. Yeah. So this is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 27. If thou hast nothing to pay, why should he take away thy bed from under thee, right? So you got these mortgage and these payments and all this other stuff, and all this system is created by debt. So you basically put me in debt with debt. Then you want to come and take away my bed because I'm in debt. When you started with debt, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense, but that's why the Lord said, why should they take your bed away? You know what I mean? It says, if he have nothing, if you have nothing with which to pay another's debt, when he defaults, why should his creditors, right, the IRS, the banks, the what is it called, the National Guard, right, because they're gonna be like madmen sparing none, take your bed from under you? See, and that's the time that you're fastly approaching. You're gonna live in this time, man. Yeah. So this is Job chapter 22, verse 6. For thou hast taken the pledge from thy brother, right? And Esau's supposed to be our brother, but he don't give a damn, for naught, and stripped the naked of their clothes, right? So he's about to strip everybody. Hey, even the regular Edomites are supposed to be his brothers. He about to strip them too, which they don't know it. While they can't wait to try to destroy Jake, which that just shows their hatred, right? So how are you going to get into heaven with all that hatred? You're supposed to make it into heaven. Come on now, right? Which you're Edomite anyway. You can't make it if you're an Edomite. If you're not Israel. You're not finna get the blessings that belongs to the nation of Israel. You'll make it into heaven where you will be a slave, right? Right? You will serve your 1,000 years punishment. All you nations will serve your 1,000-year punishment, and that's that. It says, and thou hast not given water to the weary, right? And that's what they're about to do. They're about to say, hey, look, oh well, you can't afford, you can't pay, you don't got the biometrics, you don't got the information into us, you ain't got it in your right hand and your forehead, right? Thou hast not given water to the weary to drink, and thou hast withholden bread from the hungry, and that's what they're about to do. Okay, yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. I'm going to do the Amplified version first. It says, also he compels, right? And when they're shutting off your bank accounts and there's no way for you to pay for your debts and they're casting you out of your house, that's a way they compel you, I guess, It's a way they're going to be compelling you. You can't eat, you can't buy food, you can't think, well, they're compelling you. All the small and the great, right? So-called regular, average, everyday person, insignificant, all the way to the great, whether you're rich, you're this and that, you're famous, you're a celebrity, right? Right? You're going to realize that celebrity don't mean nothing, right? You're rich mean nothing, right? And the rich and the poor, right? Basically just went back into it definition-wise. It just went right back into it, letting you know the classes, rich, poor, right? And free men and the slaves. So which really, when it gives like that, they're letting you know that you're all slaves. All of you are all slaves. To be given a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, signifying allegiance to the beast, right? To that last beast, the one that's the one with the deadly wound that was healed in return, which is the feet that were partly clay and partly broken, right? Because the financial system is broken, and he called us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, right? Amplified version, verse 17, Revelations 13, verse 17, Amplified version, and that no one will be able to buy or sell except the one who has the mark, either the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? You won't be able to buy and sell, so they're shutting off your accounts and say, hey, you better put in your biometric information, right? And that's just the beginning. That's not even the mark. Your biometrics, that's not even the mark, but it's the beginning, right? It's the beginning stages, right? To be able to get your retinal, your fingerprint, things like that. That's just the beginning. That's not even the mark. And they still shut off everybody's banking account. So how much more in the time when the mark is actually implemented? That's not even the mark. says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the number of the beast, or mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Saying you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have that mark, right? Let's go into that word mark and give you the understanding, the definition, which is charagma, a stamp or imprinted mark of the mark of the stamp upon the forehead or in the right hand of the badge of the followers of the Antichrist, which really, there are many Antichrists already, which really goes into this system. The system is anti-Hamashiach, right? The system is anti the Most High and his people, right? This system is anti the truth, right? Because well, you can't really, I would say go on Google and search up some of these things, but I was going to say a lot of that stuff got scrubbed off, right? Some of the truth. A lot of the things of the truth is out of there, right? They scrubbed it off the internet. You know, they got Trump so-called moving some stuff from the Smithsonian museums and things like that. They're moving, you know, information off the books in schools. Remember a couple years back, some lady said that they made it where they put that the slaves were indentured slaves, and so she made a big fuss about it and told them to put it back the way it was. Which, hey, that's true. Put it back the way it was, because when you go to Deuteronomy 28:68, that proves that that's us, right? Right? It says, this is my favorite one right here. When you go into B, this is how you know that's what this is, because even to this day, people put the microchip in their animals, their domestic pets, right? And then even farming, right? Because that's the first time I ever heard of this thing. It says, and the mark branded upon horses, right? And the first time I ever heard about microchipping animals, I was this other guy was speaking to me about cattle, and he was saying how his cattle, or this guy he knows cattle, would break out of their fence and go into this other guy's cattle, and it was hard to determine whose cattle was who. So the guy got tired of it. He heard of this new technology, and this was years ago. You're talking like 90s. You're talking way long time ago. And the guy put the charagma, right? So this is what we in. Put the charagma in his animals, in his cattle, so he was able to determine what cattle was his by just a simple swipe of like a wand, so to speak. He swiped the wand and it beep beep beep. Oh, and then it gave the tag, right? Right? Because it's like a radio. It's like what do they call it? A radio tag. It sends a signal, like a radio sends a signal. Beep, boom, and it pops up the information, right? But that information has what upon it? A some type of information station, so to speak, like a motherboard, what they call a motherboard, right? Which this is going to get into that. But in order to put that into the animal, right? Let's go a little further. It's karax. So to put it into the horse or the beast or your animal, your pet, right? Your domestic pets. Somehow it had to get put in there, and that will be the charagma. I mean the karax.
Strong's G 5482. Charax.
Karaxo, to sharp to a point, right? Something that's really sharp to a point that could push it through. You gotta think, especially like a horse or cows or any type of livestock. They have thick skin, so it's a pretty decent size needle, which you don't need that big of a needle for a person, right? To push it through, to put the charagma within the person, and that will be that mark, right? Through the karax, which is a pale, a stake, a palisade, right? It's gonna be a thing that fences you in, right? Matter of fact, that's what they're talking about. That palantir, which is the protege of the Hapsir, right? The Hapsir that Israel Lee has over in Israel, right? It was the forerunner to Palantir, that Hapsir, the Hapsir, right? Which means gospel, right? And it's a surveillance, advanced surveillance technology. And it's gonna fence you in. It's gonna palisade you, fence you in, right? Pales between the earth and the stone seeds. It pales stick through, right? To pale through the earth, the stones, and trees, right? It's gonna go through, and then you being made of dirt, right? As human, go back into the beginning, Adam. You're created from the dust, so it's gonna go through your through your skin, your hand or your forehead, right? And it's gonna have what? Grapho.
Strong's G 1125. Grapho.
Right? Like where you get the word like graffiti, grapho, writings, to write with referring to, from, of letters, right? Yeah, letters or tablets, parchment paper, or other materials, right? And we know that a micro C-hip is of another material, applied materials, right? It's basically what it is, applied materials. I'm just going to skip down to the part I like. Yeah, right here on the B. It says to commit to writing things not to be forgotten, written down, or written down records, right? And that's ultimately what's going to have your dental record, your dental record, your arrest record, your medical records, everything records. You know what I mean? Your driving records, everything about you is going to be on this thing that's the size of a grain of rice, and sometimes, in some cases, they might even make it smaller, right? But it will be within you, which part of your bio meaning body, metrics is a measuring, right? They're going to measure how much you're able to buy, spend, this, that, whether you're able to go here or there according to your carbon footprint or social credit score, or however they plan on doing it. But but that's the time that you're living in, and you're closer than you first believed, right? You know what? I'm going to end with that one. So this is Romans, Salakia, 13 and 11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So, hey, man, this is only bringing in the time of our Lord, and our salvation is nearer than when we first believed. So we welcome what Donald Trump is doing. We're glad and we're happy that he's doing it. You know, the night is far spent, right? See, hey, everything is far spent. Ain't no going back anyway, right? It's far spent. The day is at hand, right? See, let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, right? See, all the things of this world, the cares of this world, all this BS, cast it all off you. Who gives a damn at this point? Bring in the Jacob's trouble, bring in the trouble, and we'll go through it. Whether you live, you die, whatever, we'll go through it. And then the kingdom of heaven will be here shortly. The Lord said 1 hour the Lord is going to take this guy down. So it's not even going to be long. It's going to seem long, but it's not even really going to be that long. Right? Let us put on the armor of light. Right? You know? Put on this truth, man. You're supposed to put on this armor of light because it's about to get very dark out here, right? When people are starving, being killed and murdered and all sorts of things, the purge is about to be real, man. That ain't gonna be no movie anymore. That's gonna be real life on a day-to-day basis for some time. But it's gonna go quick though. It's gonna go quick. The Lord says he's speeding up the time, which everybody sense it. Time is going fast. This month seemed like it's already about to be the end of this month. Time is going fast, and that's the Lord speeding up to save the elect. That's why Trump is signing all these executive orders, going back and doing things. Hey, and his counsel is all crazy. It says, let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting. See, because that's what all these people are about to do. They about to go out there rioting. And in drunkenness, not in chambering, right? Complaining, talking about this, talking about that. We ain't worried about, we're happy that Trump is doing these things. Right? The only time we bring out certain things, we just show out how unrighteous he is. We're showing you how much the devil that they are, right? Like the other brother did a lesson, how the Taliban that helped them interpret the other Taliban for war, they promised them that they could bring them here in America and they'll be safe. Trump just arrested them and sent them back to the Taliban to be killed after they helped them in war and after America told them that they would be okay. See, it shows you that they're the devil, right? And in wantingness, right? Pride, haughtiness. You got a lot of, you don't want to have pride in this world. Not in strife or envy, right? So we're not here to beef and be envious. We're about to get the kingdom. There ain't nothing to envy anything about, man. We're about the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Yahushua is coming. But put ye on, out of one, Yahushua HaMashiach. Put on Yahushua HaMashiach. We about to win. We winning. We basically already won. And make not provision for the flesh, right? Yeah, you got to make sure you're not putting yourself in a thing where you're going to be weak to give into the flesh, to be back into sin and fulfill the lust thereof, right? So you want to be in the right mind because, hey, dark days are coming. So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachai HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, right? To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom, to your sisters, your Achwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader with meekness and with silence and a Bible ball and Kwam Yasharallah.